The sharpest shield, how tiny pricks saved the world. For thousands of years, humanity had an invisible enemy. Tiny, silent, deadly, these enemies were called germs. And one of the most terrifying of them all was smallpox. The monster called smallpox. In the 1700s, smallpox wasn't just a sickness. It was a nightmare. It caused high fever, painful blisters all over the body, permanent scars, and often death. In Europe alone, around 400,000 people died every single year. Children, parents, kings, farmers, no one was safe. But humans are clever, and the fight back had already begun. Ancient courage, variolation. More than 1,000 years ago, in China, healers made a bold discovery. They noticed something strange. If a person survived smallpox once, they never got it again. So they tried something brave. They took dried scabs from a survivor, ground them into powder, and gently blew it into the nose of a healthy person. This method was called variolation. It sometimes caused a mild illness, but many survived and became protected. It later spread to parts of Asia, Africa, and Europe. But it was risky. Sometimes the infection became severe. Sometimes it spread to others. Humanity needed something safer, and the clue came from cows. The milkmaid's secret. In the English countryside, doctors noticed something curious. Milkmaids, women who milked cows, almost never got smallpox. Why? Because they caught a much milder disease called cowpox. Cowpox caused small blisters on their hands. But after that, they seemed protected from smallpox. One curious country doctor paid very close attention. His name was Edward Jenner. The bold experiment of Edward Jenner. Edward Jenner was born in 1749 in rural England. As a child, he loved studying nature, especially birds and animals. He trained as a physician and became fascinated by diseases. When he heard milkmaids say, "I will never have smallpox, for I have had cowpox," he didn't laugh. He investigated. In 1796, Jenner performed a risky experiment. He took material from a cowpox sore on a milkmaid's hand and injected it into an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps. The boy developed mild symptoms, then recovered. Weeks later, Jenner exposed him to smallpox. Everyone waited. Nothing happened. The boy did not get sick. It worked. Jenner named this new method vaccination, from vacca, the Latin word for cow. But science proved Jenner right. And history changed forever. The power of the needle. In 1853, French surgeon Charles Prévaz invented a practical metal syringe. For the first time, doctors could safely inject medicines under the skin using a hollow needle. Fun fact, early syringes were made of silver. This small invention made vaccines easier to deliver around the world. The germ detectives. Scientists now asked a huge question: what exactly causes disease? Enter Robert Koch. As a child in Germany, Koch was so curious that he reportedly taught himself to read before school. In the late 1800s, he discovered that specific bacteria cause specific diseases: anthrax, tuberculosis, cholera. This was revolutionary. For the first time, humanity could see the enemy under a microscope. Koch later won the Nobel Prize for his discoveries. Now scientists could design vaccines to target exact germs. The battle had become smarter. The dramatic rescue of Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur wasn't even a medical doctor, he was a chemist. Born in France in 1822, he first became famous for discovering why food spoils. That's why milk is pasteurized today. But his most dramatic moment came in 1885. A young boy named Joseph Meister had been bitten by a rabid dog. Rabies was almost always fatal. Pasteur had been experimenting with weakened rabies virus in animals. But it had never been tried on a human. If he did nothing, the boy would die. If he tried, it might fail. Pasteur made the decision. He gave the boy a series of injections and waited. The boy survived. It was one of the most dramatic medical breakthroughs in history. Pasteur later founded the Pasteur Institute, which still researches infectious diseases today. The world fights back. Vaccination spread across continents. There was fear, there were protests, but the results were undeniable. Countries worked together. Doctors traveled to deserts, jungles, mountains, even remote islands. Finally, in 1979, the World Health Organization made an incredible announcement: smallpox had been completely eradicated from Earth. The monster was gone, forever. It became the first human disease in history to be wiped out. More scientific heroes. Swiss-born scientist Alexandre Yersin identified the bacterium that caused the deadly bubonic plague in 1894. The bacterium was later named Yersinia pestis in his honor. He also contributed to treatments for diphtheria. Fun fact, Yersin later lived in Vietnam and was so respected that streets and schools were named after him. How vaccines train your superhero army. Here's what really happens when you get vaccinated. A harmless or weakened part of a germ enters your body. Your immune system studies it. Special cells create memory. If the real germ ever attacks, your immune system recognizes it instantly. The germ is defeated before you even feel sick. It's like showing your body a practice villain, so it wins the real battle. The fight continues. Today, vaccines protect us from diseases like polio, measles, tetanus, rabies, diphtheria, but some enemies remain challenging. HIV attacks the immune system itself. Scientists worldwide continue researching a vaccine. Thanks to modern science, including genetic and mRNA technology, vaccine development is faster and more precise than ever before. From ancient healers blowing powdered scabs, to milkmaids in muddy fields, to scientists peering through microscopes, to global teams working together, vaccination is one of humanity's greatest achievements. A tiny prick, a powerful shield, a weapon not of destruction, but of protection, because sometimes, the sharpest way to fight is to prepare. Thank you for watching. If you found this video valuable, please support the channel by liking, sharing it with your network, and subscribing for more insightful content. Your encouragement truly motivates us to create more meaningful videos. Looking forward to seeing you in the next